Remember when fast food was more than just a meal, it was an experience? In the 1980s, grabbing a burger or a slice of pizza wasn't just about convenience. It was about flavor, fun, and limited-time items that made you feel like you were part of something special. You could sit down in a real Pizza Hut with red plastic cups. Or peel open the latest McDonald's creation wrapped in waxy paper. Today, we take a look back at 10 fast food items from the 1980s that disappeared forever, and still live on in our taste bud memories. 1. McDLT. McDonald's, 1984 to 1991. Back in the mid-1980s, McDonald's rolled out what might have been its boldest burger experiment yet, the McDLT. Short for McDonald's lettuce and tomato. This wasn't just another sandwich, it was a full-on engineering feat for your taste buds. Packaged in a double-sided styrofoam clamshell. It kept the hot side, the beef patty and bottom bun, and the cool side, lettuce, tomato, pickles, and sauce, completely separate until you assembled it yourself. The slogan was unforgettable: keep the hot side hot and the cool side cool. It sounded futuristic at the time, and let's be honest, it kind of was. When you got your hands on one, it felt like fast food had finally caught up with science fiction. You were in control of your burger experience. And for a while, that novelty made the McDLT a fast food celebrity. But not all great things last forever. The environmental concerns around styrofoam packaging, especially such a bulky one, grew too loud to ignore. By the early 90s, as public awareness shifted, McDonald's quietly pulled the plug on the McDLT. Still, those who grew up with it remember the crispy lettuce, the juicy tomato, and the fun of flipping it all together. In a way, the McDLT was more than just a burger, it was a product of its time. A time when fast food dared to be different. 2. Burger King's Yumbo hot ham and cheese, 1970s return in 1980s. If you ever unwrapped a warm foil packet at Burger King in the early 1980s and caught the rich aroma of melty cheese and thin sliced ham, you probably had the Yumbo. Originally introduced in the 1970s, this hot ham and cheese sandwich made a quiet but nostalgic comeback in the early 80s. During the time when fast food was exploring comfort and simplicity, there wasn't anything flashy about it. No flame-grilled patty, no spicy sauce, just soft buns, slices of warm deli-style ham, and creamy melted cheese. But that's exactly what made it special. It felt homemade in a way that stood out from the rest of the menu. For many people, especially those who were kids or teens during that time, the Yumbo was a cozy little favorite. It was fast food without the fuss. And it hit the spot on a chilly afternoon or after school. But as the 80s wore on, customer tastes began shifting. Diners were leaning more toward hearty burgers and spicier offerings. The Yumbo, being subtle and old school, quietly faded out, again. No big announcement, just gone. Today, it pops up in nostalgic food blogs and forums, often listed alongside other, lost menu treasures, from the golden age of fast food. And every now and then, someone asks, why don't they bring the Yumbo back? Maybe it's because it wasn't just a sandwich, it was a gentler, simpler time wrapped in foil. 3. Pizza Hut's Priazzo, 1985 to 1989. If you ever sat down at a red checkered table in a Pizza Hut during the mid-80s and saw a pie that looked more like a lasagna than a pizza, you might have been lucky enough to try the Priazzo. Introduced in 1985, the Priazzo was Pizza Hut's ambitious attempt at offering a deep dish, Italian pie, a kind of stuffed pizza layered with meat, sauce, and cheese, almost like a casserole disguised as a pizza. It came in a few decadent variations: the Milano with sausage and pepperoni, the Roma with vegetables, and the Florentine with spinach and ricotta. Each one took longer to prepare, but the presentation was unmatched. It came to your table piping hot, sliced thick, and oozing with cheese. But that richness came at a cost. The Priazzo took extra time to make and wasn't easy to handle in a rush. It was too fancy for fast food and too slow for the dinner crowd. By 1989, it had disappeared quietly from the menu. Still, among die-hard Pizza Hut fans, the Priazzo remains a mythic item. Entire Reddit threads and Facebook groups are dedicated to sharing memories and even attempting to recreate the recipe at home. It wasn't just a pizza, It was a moment in fast food history when chains dared to go big, bold, and indulgent. 4. McDonald's Onion Nuggets, early 1980s. Before Chicken McNuggets ruled the menu, McDonald's quietly tested a very different kind of bite-sized snack, onion nuggets. Launched in select markets during the early 1980s, these golden brown chunks of battered onion were McDonald's first attempt to branch into fried finger food. They weren't quite like onion rings, these were chunky, square, and coated in a crisp, savory batter, served in the same little red and yellow paper boxes as the McNuggets would be later. Think of them as the missing link between onion rings and chicken nuggets, a flavor experiment ahead of its time. But onion nuggets didn't quite catch on. The strong onion flavor was polarizing, and some customers weren't sure what to make of the texture. As the now iconic Chicken McNuggets soared in popularity, the onion nuggets were quietly phased out, never seen a national rollout. Today, they're something of a deep-cut trivia item among McDonald's fans. Collectors and vintage fast food enthusiasts still swap stories, and even original packaging, on online forums. If you ever tried them, you're part of a very exclusive club that remembers one of the most curious footnotes in fast food history. 5. Taco Bell's Bell Beefer, discontinued late 1980s. There was a time when Taco Bell served a burger. Sort of. The Bell Beefer wasn't your typical hamburger. It was Taco Bell's twist on fast food rivalry during the 1980s. Imagine this. Seasoned taco meat piled on a hamburger bun, topped with shredded lettuce, diced onions, and that classic Taco Bell mild sauce. It looked like a sloppy Joe, but with all the bold Tex-Mex flavor you'd expect from the Bell. The idea was simple: compete with burger joints like McDonald's and Burger King. But the execution was messy. Literally, it wasn't easy to eat on the go. And for customers craving tacos, a soft bun just didn't hit the same. Even so, there was something strangely satisfying about biting into a warm, sauce-drenched bun loaded with familiar taco filling. By the late 80s, the Bell Beefer had disappeared quietly from the menu. But it never left people's memories. In fact, there's still an underground movement of fans trying to recreate it at home, some even launching petitions begging Taco Bell to bring it back. It may have been a fast food oddity, but for many, the Bell Beefer was a taste of childhood, one that's still missed. Decades later. 6. Wendy's Super Bar, 1980s-1998. Now this one wasn't just a menu item, it was a full-on buffet experience inside a fast food joint. The Wendy's Super Bar, launched in the mid-1980s, felt like you'd stepped into a casual dining restaurant, not a burger chain. For just a few bucks, you could load up on all-you-can-eat Mexican food, pasta, and fresh salad, yes, all under one roof. There were nacho chips, taco fixings, spaghetti with meat sauce, even breadsticks. And for kids, it was like food heaven. Families on a budget loved it. Teens piled their trays high, and even adults appreciated the value. For a while, the Super Bar was Wendy's answer to fast food monotony, a self-serve oasis in a world of drive-thrus. But with greatness came problems. Keeping the bar clean, stocked, and safe during rush hours proved too much. Staff had to juggle prepping burgers and refilling lettuce bins at the same time. By 1998, the Super Bar was officially gone. Still, it lives on in memory as one of the boldest and most beloved experiments in fast food history. Ask anyone who ate there. They'll tell you nothing today quite compares to the charm of the Wendy's Super Bar. 7. McDonald's Cheddar Melt, 1980s limited time. Now this was the kind of sandwich that only came around once in a while, but left a lasting impression. The McDonald's Cheddar Melt showed up during the 1980s for limited time runs and had a loyal following almost immediately. It featured a juicy beef patty, topped with grilled onions and drenched in a rich, gooey cheddar cheese sauce, all tucked into a soft rye bun. It was bold, it was savory, and it definitely wasn't your typical McDonald's fare. The Cheddar Melt stood out because it felt almost gourmet for fast food back then. That sharp cheddar bite, the sweetness from the onions, it had a grown-up flavor in a world of standard cheeseburgers and Big Macs. But for all its flavor, it wasn't easy to make. The cheese sauce and onions slowed down kitchen lines, and the rye bun didn't exactly scream mass market appeal. So, like many cult favorites, It faded quietly from the menu. Still, those who tried it remember it fondly, as a rare moment when McDonald's took a creative leap. And today, there's an entire corner of the internet filled with folks asking the same thing. When will they bring back the cheddar melt? 8. Arby's potato cakes, introduced earlier. Big in the 1980s. Before curly fries became Arby's signature side, there was something heartier, crispier, and, to many, more satisfying: the Arby's potato cakes. These triangle-shaped treasures were golden brown on the outside, soft and fluffy on the inside, the perfect balance of texture and comfort. While they first appeared earlier, it was in the 1980s that they truly hit their stride, becoming a beloved part of the Arby's meal experience. Unlike typical fries, potato cakes felt homemade, like something grandma might fry up in a cast-iron skillet. They were the ideal side for a classic roast beef sandwich or dipped into tangy Arby's sauce. For many folks, they weren't just a menu item, they were a memory. But as food trends changed and curly fries grew in popularity, the humble potato cake began to lose its place. By the 2020s, Arby's officially removed them, sparking outrage across the internet. Fans flooded comment sections and petitions, begging for their return. They may be gone, but for a generation raised on their crispy edges and soft centers, Arby's potato cakes remain the ultimate comfort side, one bite of nostalgia that fast food just doesn't make anymore. 9. Domino's breakfast pizza, test market. Mid-1980s. Yes, Domino's once dared to ask, what if pizza could be breakfast too? In the mid-1980s, Domino's quietly tested a breakfast pizza in select markets. It wasn't flashy or overly complicated, just a warm pizza crust topped with scrambled eggs, sausage, bacon, and cheese. No red sauce, no pepperoni, just morning comfort piled high. The idea was ahead of its time. Back then, fast food breakfasts were just gaining steam, and pizza chains hadn't yet broken into the early morning crowd. Domino's thought, why not turn pizza into a sunrise staple? But it never caught on. Maybe the market wasn't ready. Maybe people couldn't imagine ordering Domino's before 10 a.m. whatever the reason. The breakfast pizza was quietly shelved and faded into fast food legend. Still, those who tried it remember it fondly, a warm, cheesy slice of something new, eaten before the day began. In a world where breakfast burritos and drive-thru lattes now dominate the morning, Domino's early experiment remains a reminder of a time when food chains weren't afraid to take bold, delicious risks. 10. Burger King's French toast sandwich, late 1980s trial. Before breakfast menus became an all-out arms race in the 90s, Burger King made an early, bold move in the late 1980s, introducing the French toast sandwich. Picture this: warm, golden slices of French toast acting as the bread, holding together layers of fluffy eggs, smoky bacon or sausage, and melted American cheese. Sweet, savory, soft, and just a little messy, this was breakfast comfort on the go. Tested in select markets, the sandwich was a surprise hit among early risers. It was indulgent, satisfying, and had that weekend breakfast feel packed into a handheld form. But despite the love, it never went national. It vanished before the 1990s kicked off, likely due to cost, complexity, and changing corporate strategies. Still, many remember it as the precursor to the breakfast sandwiches we take for granted today. Long before the croissantwich or McGriddles hit the mainstream, Burger King's French toast sandwich proved that fast food breakfast could be more than just basic, it could be memorable. From cheddar melts to salad bars, the 1980s fast food scene was bursting with bold experiments and unforgettable flavors. Some of them faded because of cost, others for health or logistics, but they all left behind a lasting memory. So, which of these 1980s fast food items do you remember the most? Drop a comment and tell us which one you'd bring back if you could. And if you enjoyed this trip down memory lane, be sure to like, subscribe, and join us again on BackThen America.